Hi there, and welcome. Today, we're setting off on a bit of a journey. We're going to expand our view of Black history and uncover a story that's so much richer, deeper, and more global than you might think. Right? Let's dive in.
So, when you hear those two words, Black history, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Go on, just take a second. Because for a lot of us, what we think of has been shaped by a very specific and, honestly, a pretty narrow story.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? As our source material from Black journals points out, the history of slavery and the civil rights movement in America is, of course, vitally important, but it's only one chapter in a massive, world-spanning book.
So today, we're going to widen that lens. We'll look at the global reach of Black history, uncover some absolutely world-changing innovations, and travel way back to its ancient roots. Then, we'll pull all the threads together and figure out how you can help share this bigger, more complete story.
Right, lesson one. Let's start by basically redrawing the map. We tend to frame this history within Africa and America, but the truth is, it's woven into the very fabric of cultures all over the planet.
Let's go to Oceania, for example. Pacific histories tell of a practice called blackbirding in the 19th and early 20th centuries. This saw tens of thousands of Melanesian people tricked or straight up kidnapped to work on plantations in places like Australia and Fiji. It's a heartbreaking part of history that's almost never included in the main story.
And these hidden stories can completely flip our perceptions. I mean, get this. Jesuit missionary accounts from 16th century Japan tell of an African man who came to be known as Yasuke. He so impressed the powerful warlord Oda Nobunaga that he was made a samurai, a respected warrior. This just blows that old idea of a completely isolated Japan right out of the water.
The depth of this history is just incredible, too. Over in India, historical records confirm that the Sindhi community, people of African descent, have been there for more than 1,000 years. They came as traders, sailors, and soldiers. And some, like the military genius Malik Ambar, became incredibly powerful, even successfully holding off the might of the Mughal Empire.
So, we've seen how global this story is. Now for lesson two. This is also a story of staggering innovation, often in the face of unbelievable challenges.
Just think about the tech you use every single day. According to U.S. Patent Office records, the very first home security system was invented in 1969 by Marie Van Britten Brown. The GPS in your phone? You can thank Dr. Gladys West for the mathematical modeling that made it possible. And as How Stuff Works points out, the microphone in that phone, well, there's a 90% chance it uses tech co-invented by James West. These aren't just small tweaks. This is foundational stuff.
But here's what makes these achievements truly mind-blowing: the context. These inventors were fighting against systems designed to stop them. They were denied access to education, to jobs, to funding, and yet their brilliance gave us technologies that we literally cannot live without today.
Now, to really understand the scale here, for our third lesson, we have to wind the clock back. And I mean way, way back. Long before the empires that usually fill our history books, Africa was a hub of human ingenuity. Just take a moment and let this number sink in. 77,000 years. According to archaeological findings from the Blombos Cave excavation, that's how old the world's oldest piece of art is. It shows that abstract thought, a key sign of modern humanity, was happening tens of thousands of years before we used to think. And it's just one of an incredible list of firsts from the continent. UNESCO identifies the world's oldest mine in Swaziland, dating back 43,000 years. Egyptology records show us one of the first ever writing systems. Archaeometallurgical studies have found that 2,000 years ago, the Haya people in Tanzania were making high-grade steel in super advanced furnaces. And historical chronicles tell us that in the 14th century, Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, was so wealthy he's still considered the richest person who ever lived.
So what do we do with all this? How do we connect the dots between ancient art in a cave, a samurai in Japan, and the GPS that got you here today?
It means that Black history isn't some separate topic you study in a box. It's a fundamental, non-negotiable part of world history. And when we ignore these stories, we're not just getting Black history wrong, we're getting human history wrong. The story just isn't complete until you hear all the voices in the conversation.
And that brings us to the most important bit. What now? Now that you have these stories, how can we, together, start to broaden that narrative?
Well, it's actually incredibly simple. Just pick one story from today that really grabbed you. Yasuke the samurai, Dr. Gladys West and GPS, the ancient steelmakers, and just tell someone about it. Tell a friend, a family member, see what they say. That's it. That's how we start to change things, one conversation at a time.
Because that's really the whole point, isn't it? Learning new things isn't a passive sport. The real magic happens when you learn it, you get why it matters, and then you pass it on.
So I'll leave you with that question. Marie Van Britten Brown? Mansa Musa? The Siddhi community of India? Whose story are you going to share?